Hey, my live. Hey, everybody. This is Cindy Baker. It's another episode of Monday Night Live. Excited. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. If you are jumping on live, if you would say hi, let me make sure I'm in my Facebook group here like I'm supposed to be. I don't see it. So hang on. There I am. Okay. Yay. So if you're watching live, just say hi. I have this light shining on my glasses. Sorry. The light's terrible tonight. Sorry about that. Um, so I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Tell me in the chat what your favorite part of Thanksgiving was. I enjoyed, we just had my parents over, and so it was very small, and I enjoyed cooking for them. Of course, it's a lot of work. My dad was like, "This is such a great meal. Why don't people have it more often?" I'm like, "Because it's so much work, right?" And I don't know if you tuned in last Monday, but last Monday, I gave some tips for how to not get so stressed out over Thanksgiving, preparing the meal and all that stuff. So hopefully you took some of those tips, put them into action. But just curious, if you're jumping on live, say hi in the chat. Let me know that you can see and hear me okay. Excuse me. Sorry. I have allergies. And so I went back and watched some of these lives, and I'm like hacking and coughing. I mean, people, I don't even know why you guys watch me because it sounds terrible. But anyway, it is what it is. So we're going to talk about being productive tonight. And I doubt anybody can relate to that. No, I'm just kidding. No, everybody can relate to it. So before I dive in, I just want to make sure you can see and hear me okay. If you could say hi in the chat if you're watching live. If you do end up watching the replay, if you're one of the ones watching the replay, just curious, if you are watching, just say hi in the chat as well. Just say replay so I'll know, because I only want to offer topics that people are interested in watching. So say hi if you're joining in the chat. And we're going to talk about secrets to being more productive tonight. So if you're just jumping on, I'm Cindy Baker, and this is Monday Night Live in the Facebook group. It's called Adult ADHD Positive Performance Club, but really what I share could be applicable to anyone who has ADHD-like symptoms, even if you've never been diagnosed. So just anyone who's kind of wired a little differently, neurodivergent, whatever you want to call it. So this would be helpful to you. What I'm sharing tonight is especially going to be helpful if you are an entrepreneur like me. So if you have any entrepreneur friends, you might want to ping them into this to this live, because I think this would be helpful to them. I'm still not seeing anyone. I'm hoping I'm not just talking to myself. So if you could just say hi in the chat so I know that you can see and hear me okay, if I'm broadcasting correctly. It looks like I am, but there's no one saying anything. I'm feeling pretty lonely right now. So if you could just say hi in the chat, it would really make me feel better because I don't know if I'm just talking to myself. I do talk to myself all the time, but usually not when I'm on Facebook Live. So yay. Heather's here, 3P Power Program person in the house. And Cindy, what a great name. So it sounds like you can see and hear me. That is awesome. If you are jumping on the replay, say hi and just say replay. Would just love to know what topics are interesting to people. Looks like Stacy jumped on. Hi, Stacy. Okay, so maybe we're going to have a small crowd tonight. I don't know. It's people are still recovering from Thanksgiving. They're still in their turkey coma and or sugar coma from all the pies and stuff like that. But what I want to talk about, it really applies to everyone, but it especially applies to you if your brain is wired a little bit differently, and you have a creative brain that allows you to be, uh, whether you're a paid entrepreneur or not, but you have good ideas. It allows you to be an entrepreneur like me, maybe, or maybe you just are the person who's always thinking up good ideas. And maybe you're not only creative, but you're also impulsive, thrill seeking. Um, maybe you're so driven that you're capable of hyper focus. We've talked about hyper focus before, and so you can just hone in and really have like laser focus. Maybe you're like that. Less than 10% of the world's population shares those traits, but the interesting thing that almost half of entrepreneurs do. And so if you have ADHD symptoms, know that your rare brain chemistry gives you amazing superpowers. And I've talked about this before when I did my live challenge, and I talked about my coaching program and why the first P in the 3P power stands for positive, because I don't like the word disorder for ADHD or any other label that people have called you. Because what I see is, if we can figure out a way to work with the way we're wired, it really is a superpower. So maybe you might even be, your brain might be the type that's really good at seeing patterns and making connections that other people miss. Your intuition allows you to invent new approaches. Maybe you're good at solving problems, and you have great ideas. So if that is true, then why do you struggle? Why do you you're only maybe just holding it together through sheer willpower, gritting your teeth, late nights, working weekends, broken promises. Some people I've heard have called this hitting the ceiling of complexity. So you hit the ceiling of complexity. And so if your business or your job or your home life is out of control, maybe you're spiraling, maybe you're overwhelmed, and you struggle with procrastination and disorganization and distractibility. So as I've said many times before, the strategies and the tools and the techniques that are used by most other people do not work for people with a creative brain like ours. And I say ours because most people watching these lives would consider themselves having ADHD symptoms. That's why you're in this group. But I really think that there are lots of creative brains that are just wired a little differently, whether they be ADHD or something else. And that's why my coaching program really emphasizes the positive and how you can use that to your advantage. So I'm going to share 3 productivity secrets. They're not going to be secret after I share them, right? But they're used by creative genius brains like those that people with ADHD have. And if you apply all 3 of these together, you could change the whole trajectory of your life. And you will save years of trial and error. You'll be able to stay on track, laser focus. And but they're not easy. It's not easy to implement this. So I'm going to share these, and that you may want to jot this down if you can, if you're not like cooking dinner or something like that. And if you are jumping on a little late, please say hi in the chat so I know you're here. Okay, so are you ready? The first secret is that having routines increases your success rate like nothing else can. Routines. Life without structure is chaos. And that's why my last challenge was called Chaos to Control. Rules govern our lives. You know, we have rules. I know you hate rules. I do too. But they're there for a reason. And conserving your energy and using it wisely is important for your success. And you want to be productive when you have the energy. Well, decision making drains energy. Decision making. How many of you have felt overwhelmed by decision making? Put in the chat, just say me or yes or something like that. Now, come on, y'all got to be interactive because there's not many of you tonight. And I got to have some interaction. I feel like I'm talking to my dog over here, and he's almost snoring. He's real old, Banjo. I have a young one, but I don't know where she is. She's probably, last time my husband wasn't home and I was up here. I didn't know where the younger dog was. She's 2. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the live, I hear this crazy noise downstairs, like ripping. I was like, oh no, because when she was a puppy, she like ripped the carpet. She got a hold of the edge and just ripped it. And yeah, we got to have it replaced. And she ripped up some furniture. And I was like, oh no, because I couldn't leave. And so finally, I called her up here, and she had stepped on we have these little spider traps. They're like little tents of cardboard, and the bottom is a really, really sticky adhesive. So the idea is the spiders walk across it and they get stuck and they die, and then other spiders are attracted. Okay, TMI. Anyway, the dog was kind of like trying to get this thing off her paw. She had stepped on one of those and she's trying to rip it. And so anyway, so who knows what she's doing down there now. But my point is, I need some interaction, so I'm not up here talking to myself. So Heather says, me, worried that I'll make the wrong decision, overthinking. That's so common, especially if you are smart. You tend to overthink things because you think of all the different scenarios. And decision making drains your energy. And so if anybody else struggles with decision making, I'd love to know that in the chat. And so defining rules, it simplifies decisions. Okay. And so you're going to conserve energy by establishing your own rules. I give you an example. Like, let's say you have a rule. I don't cheat. Okay. It's just something it's a non-negotiable. You don't cheat. So that eliminates the decision when you're faced with a choice to cheat or not. The decision's already been made previously. You've already decided that you won't. And so you don't have to fret over the decision. Now maybe that's a bad example because people are like, duh, I'm not going to cheat. But the point is, if you make decisions ahead of time by setting up rules, then when different scenarios come across your path, you don't have to be anxious over them because that takes energy. So rules also prevent mistakes when you don't have enough energy to make the best decision. And so you don't have to overthink because you've already set some things in place. So having a brain that's wired differently, you've got to pursue your passion and you've got to work with your strengths. Especially if you happen to have ADHD, you've got to work with your strengths. But there's always going to be things that you need to do, whether you like them or not. And they may not be in your area of strength but you got to do them because they're important. So always delegate what you can. If you are an entrepreneur like me, get rid of tasks that don't contribute to your desired results. And then anything that somebody else could do faster and better, delegate that or hire that out. If you can't delegate, then disengage your brain by creating a routine. So remember, having routines increases your success rate. So routines are more powerful than goals, believe it or not. Routines are more powerful than goals if your brain is wired creatively. So no matter what you want to do, break what you need to do into a series of identical daily activities. This is how you're going to find success. Aristotle said, let me think if I get it right. We are what we repeatedly do. We are what we repeatedly do. So just like rules, routines tap into the power of consistency. Okay. So success is all about vitality. You have your brain uses up energy and it needs to be taken care of. And so you got to take care of your brain by exercise, getting enough sleep, eating healthy, and you develop rules and routines that keep your creative brain running on all cylinders. So for instance, I'll take a health goal. I wanted to be fit. And so I had a routine of going to an early morning master swim class at the gym. And I'm not doing that now, but I was doing that. And if I waited until in the morning to see if I felt like going, I would always hit the snooze button. I would never go. But because I had developed a routine, I didn't have to think about it. I set out everything the night before, even to the point of having, I had a half a bagel that I would toast and put some cream cheese on. And I know it's probably not that healthy, but that's what I would eat. I had my coffee mug. I had the timer on the coffee. I had my bag there. Everything, I'd gone to all this trouble to get ready. And so I just did it. I just, did it. It was already decided. I was already going to go. And I also had paid for the class. So there was a financial investment that motivated me as well. And so, so you've got to take care of your brain. And sometimes when you're tired, you don't feel like making decisions. It's just easier if you have a routine. So habits unlock the real power of routines. And there's a whole lot I could say about habits. I did a workshop called Distraction to Action until we talked about habits. So I may do that one again because it seemed to be pretty popular. But habits you need three things for habits. You need a trigger, a routine, and a reward. Okay. And so a trigger is something that tells you that it's time to start the routine. Okay. The routine is a series of steps that when you complete them in the same order, they deliver a consistent result. So the reward, of course, is the motivator, and it can be external or, external to the routine, or it can be integral to it. So again, using the power of routines increases your success rate exponentially. So don't forget that you're going to be fighting against resistance to change. Nobody likes change, and we're going to resist it just naturally. So you've got to persevere. You can't just do it once or twice and then give up. Once you turn your routine into habits, they become effortless. And it's easier to do it than not to do it. So try to make your success effortless. This is how you become more productive. You start by creating routines until they become habits. And when they're habits, good, healthy habits, you don't even have to think about them. So for instance, I go live on Monday nights. And at first it was just a routine that I created. And now I don't even have to think about it. I don't even schedule anything else Monday. Monday I go live, and it's just what I do. And because I do that, of course, the desired result is that people will be able to overcome any kind of obstacles with their ADHD. And of course, the people who it would be a good fit for, I want them to join my coaching program because that's how I make a living. I'm not paid to do this Facebook Live. But of course, if I'm consistent and over and over and over and over again, then people get to know me. They trust me. They either like me or they don't. And that has the desired result of the people who are a good fit will continue on with me. So it's a habit that I've created. So think about that. Make your success effortless. Think about what result are you looking for. If you've got a piece of paper, just jot down right now some kind of goal or desire that you have. It could be, if you're an entrepreneur like me, it could be your business. It could be a health goal, a financial goal, a relationship goal, a job-related goal. But write something down and then think about what routine will help you progress toward that result. Okay. What routine? So let's say you want to lose weight. Well, exercise would be a routine that would move you towards that goal. So what trigger can you use to set the routine in motion? Maybe you have a friend who's going to an exercise class with you, and that friend is counting on you to go with them at a certain time. Well, what reward will you get? Is the reward intrinsic to the routine, or will you use an artificial reward to keep you moving towards the results? I would suggest doing both if you can. So think about that. What result are you looking for? What routine will help you progress toward that result? What trigger can you use to set the routine in motion? What reward will you get? And is it going to be intrinsic or extrinsic? So the trigger initiates the routine, right? And then the routine provides consistent results, and then you get your reward. So what are your comments on that? I'd love to see in the chat. It looks like a few more people have joined us. Say hi in the chat if you're watching. Would love to say hi. So if you have some routines that have moved you towards progress and made you more productive in reaching a goal, I'd love to know about that. If you'd be comfortable sharing in the chat. The chat is very quiet tonight. Give me some emojis or something, some fire, some smiley faces, some hearts. I mean, you know how Facebook is. They want interaction, or they won't show my video to anybody. So I would love to know your thoughts, but I'd also just love for you to interact. So is anyone tracking with me? Using the power of routines increases your success rate exponentially. Hi, Judy. Thank you for saying hi. Alice. Hi, Alice. You're being awfully quiet, but Alice is a 3P power person. This might be what helps in the office. Yeah, it definitely does. This talk that I'm giving tonight is especially good for people who have responsibility in their job, or they own a business, or the entrepreneur, because there's nobody making you do something, and so you have to motivate yourself. So don't forget that you're going to have an automatic resistance to change. Nobody wants change. They don't like it. It's not normal. And so you've got to fight against that. But if you can kind of get over that hump, it becomes effortless. Once it becomes a habit, it becomes effortless. That's why my coaching program is 3 months. They say it takes 90 days to form a habit. 90 days or less to form a habit. So habits are extremely important. So you have rules, you have routines, and you have habits. How about using a checklist to do the routine? Yeah. Who said that? Alice. Yeah, Alice, you got to give StreamYard permission to use your name because it just says Facebook user. But yeah, after a while, though, you won't need the checklist. It just becomes routine. Let's say for instance, I drink coffee in the morning. Not a lot, but I drink coffee. Okay. And we have one of those coffee makers that grinds the beans and you can set the timer. And so every night before I go to bed, I clean out the coffee maker, put the beans in, and set the timer. I don't even think about that anymore. I have done it for so long that it is now a habit. So the desired result is that I have a fresh cup of coffee in the morning that I don't have to wait for. And it wakes me up a little bit. And so any kind of result, whether it's a small result or a big goal, you have to think about what routines are going to push me towards that result. So, for instance, in my business as an entrepreneur, I need to make sales, right? And so I have to talk to people to make sales. People aren't probably going to just find me, so I have to put myself out there and have to do it consistently so people know who I am and what I stand for and kind of what my philosophy is. And then I have to answer questions and and so I have to put these actions into motion that move me towards a desired result. And in order to do that, I have to block off time on my calendar. I have to it has to become routine, right? So if you notice, almost every day I post something in the Facebook group, almost every day. At first, that was really difficult to do. Well, now it's just routine. And because of that, we have interaction in our Facebook group. So anything else you guys want to say about that first point before we move on? You guys are really quiet today. I think everybody's just in their turkey coma. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. All right, are you ready for number 2? Say in the chat if you're ready for number 2. I'm not going to tell you to. No, I'm just kidding. Anybody ready for number 2? No? Okay, we'll go. I'm just kidding. Man, y'all are quiet. Okay. I'm just looking at this blank screen. Thank you. Finally. Yay. Number 2. All right. So number 2 is do the right thing at the right time. When you do that, you will double your productivity. And I'm going to kind of unpack what that means. So do the right thing at the right time. Timing is everything. So why do you struggle, for instance, to compose a logical sentence for your company's annual report, but you can do the New York Times crossword puzzle in pen on Sunday morning? Why is that? People with creatively wired brains, they have these bursts of intense physical and mental energy, but it varies hour by hour to hour. Have you noticed that? I mean, you don't have the same consistent physical or mental energy all day. Sometimes your focus is so intense that you have no idea what else is going on around you. And then at other times you can't focus at all. Do you know what I mean? Say in the chat, anybody relate to that? Anybody have inconsistency with their energy and their focus? Anybody have inconsistency with their focus, their energy? Sometimes you're laser focused. Sometimes you can't focus at all. Sometimes you're full of energy. Other times you're just blah. Yeah. So traditional time management, as I've said before, doesn't really work with the way our brains are wired. Um, Traditional time management just juggles hours. Okay. It's assuming that you're going to be consistent all day long. And so you're just juggling hours. But you have to match the task to your mood, your energy, your attitude, your focus, and your ability. All of those things are important. Um, and that's super important. In fact, let me say it again. You got to match what you're doing to your mood, your energy, your attitude, your focus, and your ability. And that's really important because we are not wired the same way. We're not consistent. And you can use that to your advantage. So, most everybody has like three major energy levels. Okay. Your energy level, we'll call them zones. It probably has about three zones. So, you've got your most productive, which is like your genius creative zone. Okay. The genius zone, that's your peak energy zone. That's why they say, I'm in the zone. That you've heard that term. That's when your mood and your energy, your attitude and your focus and your abilities all align and you're just at your absolute best. In your sweet spot, they say. So you're in the zone. Okay. Cindy, looks like somebody sat on your keyboard there. Okay, so that's like the peak or the genius zone. The second is a physical zone, and that's when you've got this overabundance of physical energy, but not the mental energy for long periods of focus. Okay, so you've got the physical energy, but not the mental for long periods of focus. And that's an ideal time for you to do short tasks like running around kind of stuff and interactions. If you're trying to do something with intense concentration during that zone, it's a waste of time. And so you've got your genius zone, you've got your physical zone, and then you have a recharging zone. Your creative genius, differently wired brain is always revving up in high gear. We're always thinking, and you experience severe energy and mood fluctuations. It's not consistent. And when your energy runs low, you need to recharge. Forcing yourself to work through the recharge zone without breaks does not work. It does not work. And that's why I'm so big on time management that is ADHD friendly, whether you have ADHD or not. If you've got some of those symptoms, you're not going to be able to do things the way other people do. And so alternating work with recharging activities, something that involves no computer screen or phone, increases productivity. It increases productivity. So you have to track your energy zones. Cindy said her dog's paw got on the keyboard. That's funny. I'm a morning person, and 4:30 p.m. I get energetic. Yeah, who said that? Alice. Hey, Tani, all the 3P people here. Awesome. So yeah, so you, just to recap, 3 energy zones. You've got your laser focused genius zone. You have your physical zone and the recharge zone. So just like you did for the first one, where I wanted you to think about what routines are going to move you towards your goals, for this point, I want you to track your energy zones. Okay. When are you at your best for tasks that need intense concentration, like your genius zone? That's when you want to schedule those. Okay. I concentrate better in the morning, but not too early, but in the morning. So ask yourself, when do you operate best that way? And when you struggle to maintain focus, switch to shorter, more active tasks like the physical zone. And when those tasks become difficult, switch to an activity that recharges you or energizes you. Maybe take a nap or go for a walk or spend time with a friend, eat a snack, get some exercise. But look for daily patterns and plan accordingly and adjust your schedule if at all possible. That, again, perfect for an entrepreneur because you can set your own schedule. So for instance, of course, I can't do this now because I'm still teaching, but when I'm not teaching, like in the summer, and I'm just working on the business, I'll time block intense thinking activities in the morning, and like from 8 to 11:30 or whatever. And then I would schedule more like errands, returning phone calls, emails, stuff like that in the afternoon. But if I'm like writing a blog post or something that requires intense concentration, I'm going to schedule that for me in the morning. So plan your most demanding tasks to be done during your genius zone. Figure out what that is for you. And then group shorter, more active tasks like returning phone calls, answering emails, running errands. Schedule them in your physical zone. And then when you need a break, you're in your recharge zone, and step away from the computer and engage in some kind of energizing activity. I know you think that it's productive to just power through, but it is not. I'm telling you, it is not. In fact, over Thanksgiving break, I felt myself getting a little anxious, like, oh, I should be doing this, I should be doing that on the business because I'm not at school. But I had other things I needed to do around the house and with family. But what I found is that after that little break, I was much more productive today and able to concentrate for longer periods of time because I recharged, which is so important. I stepped away from the screen for a while and did other things. And so when you need a break, you need to take it when you can. Because remember, you're not like everybody else. In fact, I think we're better than other people sometimes because our brains operate differently than others. And that's a good thing. So doing the right thing at the right time will more than double your productivity. So the first was routines will ensure your success more than anything else. And doing the right thing at the right time is going to more than double your productivity. All right. And the third thing is to focus on your strengths. And I shared this during the challenge, and I say this in my coaching program as well. Probably when you grew up, you were hard on yourself and other people criticized you for all of the things that you did wrong. But what about your strengths? Focus on your strengths instead of spending all of your energy trying to just become mediocre at something you're not that good at. Why not worry about that as much and really become an expert in the thing that you're good at? Because you do some things better and more easily than most people on earth, believe it or not. You do. And maybe you've got incredible talents, and maybe you don't even know it. Maybe you just assume that those are things that everybody finds easy to do. But people are probably amazed at your abilities sometimes, but you just dismiss them. You dismiss the value of all of your mad skills because you didn't earn them. But I encourage you to tap into those skills, because your unique strengths and talents mean that you're going to excel at certain activities. And that's going to boost your self-esteem. And that's going to allow you to improve in the other areas just by default, because they ignite your brain. They're going to feel easier than anything else you do. But you did earn them through years of practice, whether you realize it or not. And so be okay with that, because teachers, and I'm a teacher, guilty, teachers and bosses focus on correcting weaknesses. And I think that's a problem. But just because you struggle with other activities, it doesn't make you a failure. It doesn't mean that you have a character flaw. If you're not using your strengths, then you're like Clark. I've heard someone say you're like Clark Kent stuck in traffic, when all along you can fly. Why are you struggling and spending so much emotional energy on trying to please people who don't like the way you do things, when you could be spending energy and focus on a strength and really make it excel? So successful people are not those who know the most, who have the most information, but they're the people who apply what they know. The people in my coaching program who get the best results are not the people who just listen to the information, but they're people who apply it to their lives and do something about it. They take action. So again, your 3 secrets to being more productive is, one, is that you need to create rules and routines that form into habits, so that your success is just effortless. And then do the right thing at the right time, and then focus on your strengths. If you do one of those, you'll see some results. But if you could put all 3 of those together, the sky's the limit. It really is. The sky's the limit. And so I believe in you. And I get frustrated sometimes when I see people, they just want to live in the failure. And yes, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody fails. I have ADHD. I'm always saying stupid things, and impulsive, impatient, hyper, all the things. Okay. But there are some things that I'm really good at, and I've tried to focus on those, and that helps me buffer my feeling of disappointment when I do mess up. And I will tell you, I don't always feel like doing the things that I need to do to be successful. I don't always feel like it. And so if you're waiting around for motivation to just drop in your lap, you may be waiting a really long time. So in order to be more productive, sometimes you have to realize that feelings are not facts. They're just feelings. Your moods, your attitude, your energy level, it's going to change. And so failure is part of the process. It's not the end of the process. So you do something once, it doesn't turn out, don't stop. Push through until you can create those habits that are just going to make success effortless, So I hope that helps. Let me know in the chat what your thoughts are. Is any of that helpful to you? Are y'all still with me? Anything stand out to you that's helpful? I know there's a delay, so I'll give you a couple minutes, but just say 1 or 2 things in the chat. Hey, Doug. Yes. All of these Monday Night Lives are still active in this Facebook group. I don't take them down. So you may have to just scroll a little bit. But but it is here. We're just wrapping up, but you can refresh your screen. It should probably pop up close to the top. Tend to look at faults as opposed to strengths. Yes. Yeah, we all do that naturally, but I'm encouraging you to tap into your strengths. If you can find one or two things that you're really good at, this is what I try to do with students who have some sort of thing they're struggling with, whether it's a learning disability or ADHD or anything like that. I try to find something that they're really good at, and I try to help them even get better at that, whether it's music or art or something like that, because that's going to boost their self-esteem, which is going to make them more apt to try to overcome the things that they struggle with. Routines have helped me a lot. Writing down routines has been even more helpful. Yeah. I was trying to see who's saying that. Yep, Tawny. That's right. Routines, I mean, at first you think, oh, it's so boring. I just want to do what I feel like doing. But if you really want success in your life, you're going to have to create healthy habits. And the only way you could create habits is to set up routines and then just push through the discomfort until it becomes no longer uncomfortable. And then you're just doing it, and it becomes effortless. And so I'll give you an example. If you were to scroll back many months ago, almost a year ago, at my first Facebook Lives, I mean, they're still not very good. In my opinion, my presence on camera is not very good. But the first ones were terrible. I mean, terrible. And I just pushed through, and I kept thinking, I just got to get better at this and get better. And I just made routines. And then now it's just a habit. They are boring though. Well, sometimes, but sometimes not. And sometimes you can make a game out of it and make it more fun. And you can turn music on and sing and dance around. That's what I do. But anyway, I hope that was helpful. If you missed it, go back and you can watch the replay. And let me know in the chat if you are watching the replay. Let me know what your thoughts are. And I hope that that's helpful to you, and hope you have a very productive week. And I'll see you next time. Bye.